Hello, I'm Tom Wistrcill.
I'm JT Wistrcill.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of From the Couch. We're talking NFL Week 7. As JT just told me before we started, we're almost halfway through this weird NFL season with very little fans. But we do luckily have the NFL. And as we do every week, we go back and forth with our top 5 takeaways. And hey, JT, who's the only undefeated team in the NFL?
That would be the teams whose logo you are wearing atop your
The
head.
Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. And, and who's the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL?
The Jets?
No, come on.
No, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys are a dumpster fire.
It's a race. It's a race.
It's
I mean,
a race.
we're talking about some raging hot dumpster fires flying down. I mean, it's bad.
Yes,
It's bad.
everybody loves to see the Cowboys struggling except for the
Yeah.
diehard Cowboys fans. Nobody feels bad for them. Anyway, we might talk about them later. Who knows? But as we do again, we'll go 5 points back and forth. JT's going first. Point number 1. What do you
Start out with the game of the year, I thought, so far in Arizona, with the Cardinals upsetting the Seahawks 37-34. First half was dominated by Seattle, especially Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson. Lockett had 200 receiving yards in this game, so he was really on. Scored 27 first half points, but give Vance Joseph and the Cardinals defense credit. They made adjustments, and Seattle only scored 7 second half points. I thought a huge key to this was the blitzes they came up with. They did a great job of, they'd make it look like everyone was coming, and then they'd bail out. This was big in overtime. It's what led to Russ's game-sealing interception.
Yep.
He throws that pass right there, and Isaiah Simmons, who had barely played this season, one of your
That's my guy,
called,
Isaiah Simmons.
comes up with a big interception. So it was a huge game-changing play there. But other guys on the Cardinals defense I want to highlight, Patrick Peterson did a really good job on DK Metcalf, I thought. Hassan Riddick was really good, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, all over the field, got the Cardinals' only sack. And Budda Baker, he was unbelievable, I thought, last night. They're really stud safety. He was all over the field, and they were huge in helping this team come out and get the win. I also thought Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins were spectacular as always, but good win for the Cardinals.
Budda Baker is just not fast enough
No.
to outrun the cheetah that DK Metcalf was.
Yeah.
Amazing play. To me, the play of the year so far in the NFL.
Totally agree, especially when you consider it didn't just save 4 points, it saved 7 because the Cardinals go for it on 4th down and they didn't get it. So unbelievable hustle by Metcalf.
Cardinals have the Dolphins at home, the Bills at home, and then a rematch at the Seahawks. So next 3 weeks will be interesting for them. What a great division that is.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to start with my squad in my hat. I'm going to start with the Steelers. Undefeated, found a way, didn't play very good in the second half. Couldn't score points, turnovers, maybe got a little conservative. I want them to take a few more shots downfield. And I know that the Titans were playing a too deep zone and just saying, we'll give you everything underneath. But you can't have those turnovers against a good team. Had to have a missed field goal to stay away from overtime. So we'll see. The Ravens are coming up Sunday, the next game of the year so far. Last week it was Steelers-Titans. This week it's Steelers-Ravens. Steelers are an underdog, and they should be. The Ravens, quite frankly, have been a little more consistent and been able to run the ball. So we'll see what happens. The Ravens want to run. Steelers can stop the run. Can they force Lamar to have to throw the ball to win? If they can do that, and the Steelers can run the ball consistently, then I think we got a decent shot. But it'll be really interesting to see. Should be a great game. Not a lot of love lost there. Expect a few personal fouls. There always is in that game. So I'm looking forward to that game Sunday. What do you think?
It will be a really fun game. Before we get that, I do want to highlight Titans linebacker Jayon Brown made the play of the game in the game you're highlighting when he knocked that ball out of Juju's hands and allowed it to be picked off. So I thought that was just, if not for Metcalf, that's the play of the week. But when it comes to this game, I am really excited because of the addition of Yannick Ngakoue the Ravens got. I am obviously very frustrated with my Vikings. They traded a second to get Ngakoue, and they get him for 6 games, and then they get the 3rd and a 5th round pick. Not a good move and a bad miscalculation by our general manager, Rick Spielman. And when you look at this Ravens front 7 now, though, it's really intimidating. You get Ngakoue, pair him at outside linebacker with Matthew Judon. It's a really intimidating pair of outside linebackers. Calais Campbell is always lurking in the interior. Brandon Williams is one of the better nose tackles in the league. And Derek Wolf still got a little bit left in him from his Denver days. Patrick Queen continues to get better. And I haven't even mentioned some of those corners in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. So this Ravens defense is ferocious, and I'm really excited to see them versus the Steelers offense, who's playing pretty well right now. So it's going to be fun to watch. It's a great trade for the Ravens, especially considering Ngakoue is from Maryland. He went to college there, so good move for them, and I'm really excited to watch this matchup play out. And if I'm picking it right now, I got the Ravens at home.
Okay, I'm going to take the Steelers in overtime.
Shocking.
All right, number 2. Where are you going, JT?
After that, I am going with the Falcons. Just blowing it again.
Yep.
They lost another lead. It was 23-22.
Amazing.
They end up losing to the Lions. And Atlanta was about to win a very ugly game, a very low-scoring, ugly game. I believe it was like 18-16 they were going to win or something like very low scoring. And Todd Gurley runs for the first down. And he's just got to go down. But he shakes through a tackler. Because, in your mind, when you're running, you're like, I just got to get through. But then he sees the end, so he's like, oh, no, I got to stop. I got to slam on the brakes. And he tries to. But the tip of that ball just falls into the end zone. And that is a touchdown. Someone said a picture that describes 2020 perfectly is Lions defenders going like this when Gurley's like, no, I didn't get in. And then what happens? Matthew Stafford executes a perfect 1-minute drill. And this is when the Lions offense does operate at its best. When you get Stafford and those weapons, Kenny Golladay was great. Hawkinson's coming along well. Amendola is always making big catches as well. And DeAndre Swift is best as a third down back. So give the Lions credit for completing a nice comeback at the end. But between the Cowboys game, the Bears game, and now this, it is just rough to be a Falcons fan.
Yeah, really, really sad to see. I'm going to talk about the Cowboys a little bit, kind of what's going on there. They're 2-5. As we talked about, they are a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. They're obviously have no quarterback. Looks like they're going to start sixth or 7th round draft pick next week. They have offensive line issues. The defense is awful. They're last in scoring defense. They're -13 in turnover margin. And this is not Mike McCarthy's fault. He walked into a situation where he had a franchise quarterback and a good but not great defense. A little bit like the Steelers last year, right? Quarterback went down, average quarterback play, but they had a defense to keep them in games. The Cowboys don't have a defense to keep them in games. That's why they go play Washington and score 3 points.
Yes.
And get blown out by the Washington football team. So the Cowboys go to the Eagles, have the Steelers at home, and then they go to your Vikings. They're underdogs in the next 3 games. Yeah. So then they play Washington again after that. So it could be 3 more weeks of could be some ugly losses in there for the Cowboys. They're just going to have to hold on until they can get healthy and rebuild their defense. Got to get off the offensive line healthy as well. But nobody's feeling sorry for them. No. It is not Mike McCarthy's fault, though. It's not. People call for his head. This rests on the fact that Jerry Jones didn't do a great job building the defense. And secondly, their franchise quarterback is hurt. Mm-hmm. So
even before Dalton got hurt, too, the offense was struggling. You may look at it and like, how is that? They have Zeke. They have amazing wide receivers. The offensive line is the worst in the NFL right now. They have 4 starters injured, and their one healthy was their worst starter going into the year. So I know it's boring, but when you have that happen, you're not going to win football games. When you have the worst offensive line in the NFL.
All right. Next point for you. What do you got?
How about the Battle of Ohio? It lived up to the hype, and it has been unbelievable so far between these 2 Heisman quarterbacks and Baker and Burrow. Now, it got off to a rough start for Baker. I mean, he throws an interception on the first play. Odell gets hurt on the first play, too, and then goes 0 for 5. What did he do after that, though? Lit a fire under himself and comes out and goes 22 for 23, 297 yards as well, 5 touchdowns, and got the win. And what's funny about Baker is, it's weird to say, but I really do think he's better without Odell. It seems like sometimes he tries to force the ball to Odell, as strange as that sounds, but it just, whenever you watch him without Odell, he seems to play better. He got guys like Rashad Higgins involved. Harrison Bryant, the young tight end, had his best game of his career. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, their 7th round pick out of Michigan, scored the game-winning touchdown. So it is crazy the performance Baker had and how he elevates lesser guys and sometimes makes better guys, like the upper echelon receivers, worst. And really quick, I would be reminiscent if I didn't bring up Joe Burrow in this game. 406 yards, 4 touchdowns. T. Higgins is a really good wide receiver, and Tyler Boyd is very impressive as well. So really impressed by the Battle of Ohio. Looking forward to this game for years to come, and give Baker credit. He was unbelievable.
Yep. Amazingly, got to give Baker some credit there. So I'm going to talk about the Packers a little bit and some defensive questions. The Packers are 5-1. So clearly the class of the NFC North right now. And they're number 2 in scoring offense. Rodgers has been great. They're having trouble getting the pressure on quarterbacks. They're 20th in scoring defense. I don't think they can consistently outscore people enough to get to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to happen this year. So their defense, who supposedly was going to be pretty good, They need to be better. They can't say we're going to put up 38 to 40 points every single game. Can't put that type of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is. So I'm encouraged because I think they're going to win the division. They could potentially get a bye in the playoffs, and again, there's only one bye.
Yeah.
Could they be the number one seed? They could be the number one seed. That's what I mean by that. But we'll wait and see. But clearly the class of the NFC North right now.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yep. All right, what do you got next?
The NFL trade deadline is less than a week away. How about that? How quickly it's already come. We talked about Ngakoue, but another move that happened today was my former Viking, Everson Griffin, going over and joining the Lions for just a 6th-round pick. Oh, I was bummed that our GM didn't decide to make a move for a measly 6th-round pick, bring back the hometown hero. Some people like to say he's not playing as well. He was playing behind the worst secondary in the NFL, so get the ball out quick. But what I want to do is I want to go through 10 names the 10 best names and also the most likely to get traded at the deadline really quick. First up, I got A.J. Green. I highlighted T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, good receivers there. A.J. Green franchise tag, they're moving off him. Harrison Smith doesn't fit the timeline of the current Vikings, could move off him. Melvin Ingram, Chargers D-end in a contract year. I think they could move off him as well. Carlos Dunlap is like publicly trying to sell his house, I believe, so like the Bengals can be like, hey, I want out of here, like just sending the messages that way. Ryan Fitzpatrick, what if maybe Dallas decides to throw it at him? I mean, as bad as their division is, they're still in it, so Fitzpatrick wouldn't be too expensive. Ryan Kerrigan out of Washington. Chase Young, Montez Sweat coming on strong as outside linebackers. Think they could grab him. How about Stephon Gilmore? There's rumors that he could be traded. The defensive player of the year? Yeah, if the Patriots continue to struggle, he could be gone as well. Desmond King, slot corner for the Chargers. Kind of lost some playing time there after being a Pro Bowler a few years ago. Also, David Njoku, Browns tight end, highlighted how good Harrison Bryant was. They already have Austin Hooper. Njoku wants out, and I think he's going to get it. And finally, the surprise one, but if you really look at it, not a surprise, I think Dwayne Haskins can be had for not much of the Washington football team. And I still think he's got a lot of upside. So I think those are the 10 best, most likely intriguing guys who could be moved at the deadline.
All right, good list right there. We'll see how many of those actually come true. But I like the activity there, and I think there could be some moves. So we'll see on that. And my last point is I'm going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Because to me, they're still the best team in the NFL until they lose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They obviously have a loss this year to the Raiders, but I'll tell you what they do have is they have the most complete offense. They added Le'Veon Bell, which will be really interesting to see how it happens. I am a little worried about their defense. They're 30th in rushing defense. And, when it comes to the playoffs, you have to be able to run the ball and stop the run. And so now they proved that's not exactly true because they gave everybody a lead last year in the playoffs and then came back and scored it seemed like 35 points in the second half of every game and blew everybody away. I don't know how long that can happen, but nonetheless, they're still number one. And but the one thing they do, they're second in the league in turnover margin. So what does that mean? That means Patrick Mahomes gets that many more opportunities with the ball than the other team does in a game. What does that mean? They're going to score more touchdowns. They're going to win the game. So until somebody knocks them off, people might claim the winner of the Steelers-Ravens this weekend is the best team in the NFL. To me, it's still the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens the rest of the way.
I think that's a great point when you consider, too, Mahomes only threw for 200 yards this week. You get the special teams touchdowns and the defense, like you mentioned, creating some turnovers like that. They can get gashed, but they have playmakers in the Honey Badger and stuff like that. Will be interesting to see how Tampa fits into that best team discussion, too. With the addition of Antonio Brown, will be a fascinating storyline to watch.
Yes, it will. So that's great. Well, we hope you enjoyed our review of Week 7 here as we dug into some of the details. And we look forward to having you watch us again here as we come live on our show from the couch. We'll see you next time.